So we're going to do a tutorial on how we set up this rotoscoped animation of whisking some eggs. And I haven't gotten very far with it yet, but we're going to show you how I set it up and where these lines that create the illusion of a whisk spinning around a bowl in 11 frames before it disappears. Where does that come from? Well, it comes from this footage right down here. Okay. And this footage came from pexels.com. If I select all of my layers, right, this is something you have to know when working with a rotoscope thing. You can actually see that I turned on my footage in frame in my timeline, frame 13, and not in any of the rest of them. So I'm going to hold shift down in the first and last frame and turn on the footage with the eyeball. The eyeballs here are selecting what frame is on in each of these things is hecka important, because in any one of these frames you should have not only your footage on for now so you can see what you're tracing, but you should have on one layer that is associated, or at least one layer that is associated with the drawing in that frame. And if you notice, when I go to frame 2, I've created another blank, what was originally blank layer for my drawing, and it is called 2 to associate it with frame 2, and so on and so forth. And your setup of your rotoscope animation will be correct if once you go to File and choose, this would be from the beginning, how you're going to start this whole thing, is you're going to go to File and Import Video Frames to Layers, right? And once you do that, you'll get a dialog box and you're going to select a few things in order to do that, and my computer is probably going to crash. In the dialog box, you limit it to every 2 or 3 frames, and you try to get it down to, just a few 3-4 seconds max of a clip that you're importing there. So you can narrow down the selection and then tell it, I only want every third frame to become a frame. Right. Then you're going to want to put all of those layers, because it will generate a layer for each. Cancel, not layer style. It will generate a layer, right, for each one of your frames, and it will automatically say then if I'm on, this layer. I did not rename these because I wound up initially when I set this one up making a much longer clip than I wanted to, and I had like some 70 some layers, and I didn't want to do that many drawings, so I cut off some in the beginning, cut off some in the end. So they're misnamed here, but I know they're correct, and I could go back to each one and rename them, but I'm not going to waste that time right now. I'm just going to say, all right, for each one of these things, I do need to make sure that whatever frame I'm on, frame 10, I have a layer for drawing that is also named 10, right? And anything that's on there, I think I copied and pasted this stuff. I can transform, right? Just what's on there. And like the same thing for each one. So like 11, Control-T, and I'm just going to move that over into place that way. So if I want a layer that has the same stuff in every single one, right? All I need to do is go down below this and make a new layer. It's layer 45, whatever it's going to name it, right? And this is, I could call this my background. Drawing. Okay, and this I'm going to want to turn on in every frame. I think when you make a new layer, it automatically does that. I'm just checking with shift. Yeah, my background drawing layer is going to be on in every single frame so that when I zoom out, if I want to put in stuff that's like, I use shift to make straight lines because if you click one spot and then click another spot after having hold shift in between them, it makes a straight line in between them. So I've got about 30 seconds left, but basically you can see now that this part of the drawing, if I turn my footage off in all layers, right, that stays there, okay, because that background drawing layer is on in all of my layers. I have just saved and tested a GIF file, and it looked okay to test out, what I've got going on in my animation here, right? But it looked like it was going too fast. So I wanted to show you how to both save as a GIF file and change um, the frame rate here, right, on all of your slides. So real quick, let's get to the first frame and then scroll over, shift to the last one, right? Then on any one of them, we can click on the bottom little drop down arrow here to change the frame rate. I'm going to change it to 2/10 of a second. Right now it's at 7/100ths of a second. And you notice it changed it across all of them. Now let's save as a GIF. Save as. I'm going to save it to my computer and tell it where you want it to go in my multimedia file. And I'm going to spell whisking together correctly. Just change the file type to a .gif and save it. See, that's my other version there. I'm not going to change any of this stuff. Clicking OK. And it'll take a hot second, but it should be there shortly. As soon as you see Photoshop is done, you can check it out. I'm going to recommend opening with some sort of a internet device. And that might be a little bit too slow, but at least I can see all my frames. And I know that I've already previously done this and tested out the frame rate at 0.07, and that was too fast. So 0.2, maybe 0.1 is where I want to be. And as I move forward, I'll just either remember that or write it down. Okay, so we're going to add in some base layers so that these are base colors, so that a lot of these transparent line only frames can have its bodies in some of them. Saturn is rising now. These line only transparent frames can have some kind of color under a lot of them really fast. In order to do that, just like I added this front table layer over top of everything, I'm going to need to add a layer underneath of my animation layers, like one solid layer. And this should be visible when you add a new layer. It should be visible on, as you can see, every frame until you tell it not to be, right? So on any frame like this, I'm just going to go into my layer 45 base layer, and I can either turn on my footage so I can see working on this, or I can just remember because I want to fill in, a lot of this, and I'll turn that on and off as I go. I'm going to start with my default white and zoom in here. I'm going to do what the daughter's shirt is white, right? No, the mom's shirt is white, daughter's shirt is tan. I can change these colors, that's the beautiful thing about doing the animations. Change these colors if I want to. Using my bracket to make my super soft. Let's go 97 and opacity. Bring that up to 100. Right, and it doesn't matter. I'm going over, spots that it shouldn't be. This is fine. Okay, I can change it up a little bit. Wow, that gets dark fast. Like to really keep in light tones, you can make so much of a difference right up in this corner. I don't want it to be peach. I want it to be more like a light khaki for, we'll do her shirt, and you know what, we'll do skin. Give it a general color here. It doesn't matter that I'm going over the edge because I'm going to add the clothing on top still. That one maybe, whatever. Just like I did there. Oh, it's going to look so much better already. All right. So then let's get like a gray. Make my brush a little smaller. Left bracket. Do mom's head. And because this is also gonna, either one of their aprons gray. Well, whatever. I'll make her apron gray. It's an artistic choice, not just a matter of convenience. Speed. All right, and now she's wearing some kind of greenish, I think. Let's go a little darker. So I finished off the base color layer, this layer 45, which I should name hide. I'm gonna have to stop it. We'll call it like people base one. I'm calling it people base one because I'm probably going to want to make some adjustments at some point in here where I think her head is way down. Yeah, this stuff is kind of like way out of the head there. But a lot of the rest of it I think works well, even though, the arm moves a little bit and this arm moves a little bit out of the um, sphere of influence of these base colors. I did it kind of loose enough that it's their subtle movements are okay. I'm probably going to add something in here for this hand as well because that doesn't really move. Um, so yeah, that's how that was done. Just a little bit of pick that color up, make my brush a little smaller. The left bracket there. Just get a right, and because it's underneath of my animation layers, all of them, right, and it is visible on every frame, even that one down here, every frame. I can see it throughout the entire animation. That's it, folks. Check back in when we're done.